Today I will tell you over 20 different tips, tricks and hacks for your Quest 3 that I have learned over the course of several months of using this headset, but also over the course of years of using Quest 2, Quest Pro and other Quests and VR in general. As you know, Quest 3 allows hand tracking and it is pretty convenient whenever you don't want to hold your controllers, and the switch between controllers and hand tracking can be a bit delayed, and normally you would just place your controller somewhere on the table and then it starts moving your hand like a maniac trying to get it to track as fast as possible. But if you want to do that faster, you simply need to double tap your controllers and then your hand tracking will enable automatically. But you need to enable that feature first by going to the menu and selecting that option, as I'm showing you right now. I have seen online that many people were complaining about the hand tracking quality on Quest 3, and there is actually a way to improve it, because you can override the hand tracking frequency inside your Quest 3 by going to Settings, System, Developer, and then Hand tracking frequency override. If you set it to high, that you will see that your hand tracking quality has radically improved. If you own a Quest 3 and you want to showcase it to your friends or family, you need to know that there is a way to cast what the person is seeing in VR onto your computer or even onto your phone. It's very easy to cast it on your phone actually, because you already have your Meta Quest app and there is a special button that allows you to cast. But something that you might not know is that you can have certain level of control over your headset from your mobile phone. For example, you can launch apps from there without your friend or family needing to press anything, and you can even recenter them if they have lost their point of view, and you can even record their experiences right there from your phone. I think that's really cool to introduce some apps to your friends, because they don't have to get confused with controllers and making sure that they launch the correct app. Another tip is actually a mod that you can do to your Quest 3 in order to increase the battery life, and that is basically using an external battery from Bobo VR. Yes, you don't really need to buy an external battery strap, because those are really expensive, especially if you want to buy an official one. If you just want to connect your Quest 3 to the external battery instead of using bulky power banks that you don't really know where to put except for in your pocket, you can actually attach the Bobo VR external magnetic battery to this magnetic mount that can be in turn attached to any hat strap that you own. This little mod is really inexpensive, but it can significantly improve your battery life on your Quest because they are magnetic, and if you buy more than one of these batteries, then you can swap them all the time and virtually it will give you unlimited power. I've been using this trick on Quest 2 and it works perfectly well on Quest 3 as well. We've talked about battery a bit, and one extra tip for you to know is that you can actually turn on the power saving mode on your Quest in case you want to squeeze in those extra 30 minutes of playtime. You can enable it right here in the settings. However, you need to remember that if you are turning on the power saving mode, then it is going to affect the resolution and the texture quality in the games that you're playing, and in some cases it may even affect the performance. So that works if you don't have an external battery handy but you still want to finish up that mission. You can just turn on the power saving mode and you have that little bit of extra time to finish up all your VR business. Speaking of battery, it is very important to know what kind of power banks you can use with your Quest. The maximum amount of power that Quest 3 can get is 18 watt. Here's another tip to protect the battery on your Quest 3 and make sure that it serves you for many years to come. Quest 3 packs lithium-ion batteries, and if there's one thing you need to know about these batteries is that it is never a good thing for those batteries to be fully charged or almost drained. That's when the shelf life of those batteries is going down, and that's why over time they may eventually hold a lot less charge than when you bought this headset initially. So in order to protect your battery life and make sure that it maintains its capacity, one thing you should try is not charge the battery of your headset more than 85%. In fact, if you're using a battery head strap from Meta, it will automatically stop charging your headset once it goes up to 70%, and that is to protect your battery. There is no way for you to manually cut off the charging time, but maybe you can glance onto the charging level of your headset and then stop the charging when you see it reaches about 70 or 80%. When your battery charge drops below 25%, that's a sign for you to charge it right away. Do not wait for your headset to go down like 10 and 5%, or God forbid completely die without charge. This is really terrible for your battery, and if you don't want the battery in your Quest to lose its capacity over years, then you definitely should keep that charging level somewhere in the middle between 25 and 80 to 85%. That is the healthiest way to treat your lithium-ion battery on your Quest or any device that uses the same similar type of batteries, like your phone, for example. The cool thing that many people don't actually realize is that the Quest 3 facial interface has two little buttons on the side that will allow you to extend the facial interface to accommodate glasses if you're wearing them. Of course, you shouldn't be wearing glasses when you're wearing a headset, because I think that it is going to scratch your lenses no matter how you are using these buttons, but still it gives you a higher chance that depending on your glasses design, your lenses will probably be safe. Honestly, this is still not my preferred way of wearing glasses in VR, and I know that it is a problem for many who need glasses, so I recommend getting prescription lenses. Getting prescription lenses is the best way for people who need glasses to use VR, and I'm convinced that this is the only way to go. And there are many companies out there. The one that I want to talk about today is called VR Wave, and I have been partnering with them for quite a while in the past. They've made lenses for Quest 2, for other headsets, and now they've come up with their design for Quest 3. So the thing that I like about these lenses most is that there are 3 magnets, which means that when they are connected, they stay very secure, and no matter how active you are while gaming, they will not come off. It's a pet peeve of mine when companies put only 2 magnets, because these just do not stay in place, they keep falling off. Also, they stay secure and you will not damage the base of your lenses in your VR headset, which I have done in the past with some other companies. So I would not recommend a product that can damage your Quest 3, and these definitely fit like a glove. And one last benefit is that they are super skinny. They're protruding just a little bit above the actual lenses, and they are virtually unnoticeable. When you're ordering the prescription on their website, you can obviously select prescription for each lens, but you can also add add-ons like the blue light filter or anti-glare protection. As always, I will offer you a discount code for you to grab them on their website, and I do not get any commission from this discount code. I simply wanted my community to get the better deal on this really nice and important product. You can definitely make your Quest 3 experience a lot more convenient. So speaking of accessibility, since we talked about glasses, I also want to talk about hearing impairment. If you or someone you know has hearing impairment, there's actually something that you can do in VR to enable live subtitles. So basically anything that you say in VR will have captions in them, and this is available in the experimental settings. And once you turn it on, here you can see that if I play any trailer from the library, if there is some speech in that trailer, you can see how it automatically captions this in real time. And this also works if you're just meeting with your friends in VR online. You will be able to see the captions over what your friends are talking about, and I think that this is really cool for accessibility. Another accessibility feature that they have is you can set up the different color patterns in your VR headset depending on your specific condition if you're color blind. So this is really cool, and I've seen that people actually are really excited about this new feature. The next one I can talk about for a really long time, because if you're a Quest 3 owner, SideQuest is a must-have thing for you. SideQuest is a place basically where you can find thousands of different titles, many of which are not on the official store. So essentially it is your one-stop shop for all things VR. You will find full titles there, app lab games, free demos. You will also find custom homes, different game ports, experimental titles that you will have not seen anywhere else, and also some games in alpha, beta stages where you can talk to developers directly, give them feedback, and help them develop these games. So many of the games that were officially launched on SideQuest then streamlined to the official meta store, and all thanks to the community that was built around those games on SideQuest, and you can be a part of that, and it is pretty amazing. Getting SideQuest is really easy. There's many tutorials online about it, but I recommend following their official tutorial that you will find on their website. Coincidentally, I made it, so I will make sure that it is clear and easy for you to follow. So of course, games is the best part about it, but it's not the only thing. SideQuest is also a tool that you can use to improve your Quest 3 performance. There are tons of settings there that you can use to improve your texture resolution, and all of that is completely free. You don't have to pay any money for additional utilities, but you simply select which resolution you want for the game, and it will change it inside your headset. But be careful with that, because the highest resolution settings might be a little bit buggy with certain games, so you might just need to try and check which highest resolution works flawlessly with the game that you want. Since we are talking about SideQuest, I want to mention that they have also started their own social platform called Banter, and that is basically like VR chat meets Boneworks. It's a social sandbox sandbox that is physics-based. There are some crazy worlds there that you have never seen before in VR, and you can do amazing things there. You can play with gravity, you can use grappling hooks, you can customize your avatars, and they use Ready Player Me avatars with legs, which is amazing. They're also working on adding body tracking in the near future, and there are so many different worlds and events to attend. I love that platform, but the best part is that SideQuest are giving away so many cool prizes on their platform, including very frequent Quest 3 giveaways. And in fact, all you need to do to enter those giveaways is be inside Banter, because the winners are selected among the players who are online at the time of drawing. Usually the drawing times are random, but if you join their Discord, that you will find different giveaway notifications and you will be more in the know of what kind of giveaways are going on. What you're hearing right now is my baby. He's helping me make the video, so don't mind it. SideQuest is a very important platform for any Quest owner, and the fact that they created an app is really something. So I recommend you all check it out and enter the giveaways. I know I talk a lot about SideQuest, but actually there's still more about it. So as you know, you can change the recording settings right there within your Quest 3. Just go to the camera settings and you can select different types of recording. You can record as a square, which is default, as a landscape, and as a portrait mode for your shorts and TikToks. There's also a couple of other things to select here, but I do want to note that whether you're recording as a landscape or portrait mode, basically what it does is it crops top and bottom of your video, or the right and left part of your video if it is a short. I personally really don't like that. I know that you get the HD resolution, but it comes at the cost of reduced visibility of what you actually see in VR. And that means that certain games are not going to be displayed properly in your recording. So what I found is you can use SideQuest to record it as a square, but to increase the resolution from 1024 to 1600. So that way you will still get a pretty high resolution of the recording, but you will not be losing any parts of your footage. And then you can repurpose it and decide for yourself which parts of the video will be cropped. So this is something that Meta is not offering, and you can only change this resolution in SideQuest. One thing that always drives me crazy is that this sensor inside the headset that detects whether or not there is a face pressed to the headset, it's quite sensitive, right? So when you remove the headset, as soon as you do that, it goes to sleep. And sometimes when you put it back on, your tracking might be messed up, or your room calibration is not in place, or you simply don't want to wait those 2-3 seconds for the screen to light up. For some reason it takes a little bit of time for me. So I personally like to disable this sensor so that your screen here will always stay on unless you click on this power button. And before I knew how to do that, I would just put a sticker over it and cover this sensor. But now you actually can do that in SideQuest by simply toggling this switch and disable this proximity sensor. Something to note, all the settings in SideQuest that you are changing are not permanent changes, so you shouldn't worry about messing up anything, because as soon as you restart this headset, all these settings will go back to default. So it's good to remember, if you want to keep this proximity sensor disabled, then after you restart the headset, you will need to disable it again. Same goes for the resolution and for the recording settings. You will need to redo it once again after you've reset or powered off and then powered back on your Quest headset. Next, I want to talk about custom homes. As you know, in your Quest 3, you can change your home environment to one from the set list of environments that Meta provides you. And if you ever get bored of those, there are literally dozens of free custom homes on SideQuest, and you can browse through them like you're browsing through any other games, and you can download them like you would download any other game from SideQuest. So you just select anyone that you like, download it, and it will show up alongside the rest of your custom homes. And I really love messing with that, because you can select custom homes from different movies like Matrix, or cartoons like Simpsons, or you can just find some really beautiful and futuristic environments, so you will never get bored of your home environment. There's a couple other useful things you can do in Quest 3 that will make it more personalized to your needs. For example, you can pin 3 of your most used apps to your menu. That is my baby. To do that, simply go to your library, find the app that you want to pin, click on these 3 dots at the corner and select that option, and you will see it show up right here in your menu. And you can do the same thing to unpin it if you want a different app there. Going back to custom home environments, I actually prefer to see the pass-through while I'm wearing Quest 3, because I really like the pass-through mode and seeing my environment. And you can switch that by going here in the menu and selecting whether you want to see your pass-through or your actual virtual reality space. But you can also double tap on the side of your headset in order to immediately turn on the pass-through mode. Now here's my favorite tip. I really wanted to get to tell you about it. So you can use your Quest 3 to watch movies, right? You can play some YouTube movies. You can also download some apps that will allow you to stream. For example, Netflix has its own app that you can download on your Quest 3. I made an entire video about streaming services on Quest 2, which are the same for Quest 3, so go ahead and watch it if you want to. But here's the thing about the Netflix app. You actually always need to have the internet connection in order to stream your movies, right? But it's not always the case when we're watching Netflix. Specifically, if you're watching it on your phone, you actually can download those movies and you can watch them offline whenever you don't have access to the internet, for example, on a plane. The MetaQuest Netflix app doesn't allow you to do it. However, there is a way around it. Because Quest 3 is basically an Android device, technically you can install any APK on it. And for that, we will need SideQuest, and you already have it, right? So all you need to do is find the Android app or mobile app for Netflix that you would normally install on an Android device like a mobile phone. I will leave a link to one of those files down in the description. What you need to do after that is use SideQuest and install this APK onto your Quest 3 using SideQuest. There's a special function that allows you to sideload outside APKs, so use it to sideload it onto your Quest 3 like I'm showing here on the screen. And basically when you run it in your Quest 3, you will see that even though it doesn't look as pretty as the original Netflix app for Quest 3, it does have all the functionalities of the mobile app, including the feature to download the movies onto your headset. I made a separate video describing in more detail how to do that, so make sure to check it out in the description. And you can do the exact same thing for the PlayStation Remote Play. Essentially, you can play your PlayStation games on the big screen inside your Quest 3 headset, because not everyone has PSVR 2. And for that, you basically will sideload the PlayStation Remote Play APK onto your Quest 3 and proceed connecting your to PlayStation console the same way you would if you had this app installed on your phone or on your computer. The steps are exactly the same for connecting it, other than the fact that you will do that in VR, and after that you can simply play it inside your headset. So you can't obviously play VR games that way, but you can play your flat screen games on a giant screen in VR. And if you're not a PlayStation person, there's also Xbox Pass, recently launched officially on Quest 3, so you don't have to do any kind of a workaround. You simply download the free app called Xbox Pass, and if you have the Xbox Pass, then you can play it on the big screen in your Quest. So flat screen streaming in VR is actually becoming a really big thing. While streaming in VR is becoming such a huge thing, it's not just the modern game that you can play inside your VR headset, but also some retro games. And one of the things that I've covered in my past videos is the PlayStation emulator, which allows you to play PlayStation 1 and 2 games on the big screen in VR and even in the virtual reality mode. Go ahead and watch that video if you'd like. I'll leave the link in the description. It is so cool to play your favorite flat screen titles that you played years and years ago in the virtual reality mode. One super cool thing to know about gaming is that there are so many free games that you can find when you just go to your browser. These are called WebXR games, and these are the games that are launched directly in the browser by going to certain websites. And by default, you are able to see so many of them by just opening your Quest browser. Very soon, I will release a video going over my favorite WebXR games, so keep an eye on that and make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss it. But it's definitely worth spending some time exploring these WebXR apps and finding some really cool and free VR games. A couple of good to notes is that you can use the combination of the buttons on your controllers to start the recording and also to take a screenshot. In order to take a screenshot, you will need to press and hold the Meta menu button and then press the trigger button after that. And in order to take a video, you would need to press and hold both the menu button and the trigger button at the same time. Just keep in mind that this way the microphone audio will not be recorded. One cool tip for those of you who are planning to use your Quest 3 for fitness is that it has its own fitness widget that can track your activity while you're in VR. It can track which apps you use to stay active. So for example, if you're playing something like Supernatural or FitXR, you will be able to see how many calories you've lost across different apps and activities you've done in virtual reality. And if you also select this option, then you can look up and see how many calories you've lost this day without actually going into the settings. Something you all know by now is that you need to set up your boundary to play safely. However, it is really not the most fun to see that boundary when you're playing games, whether it's a mixed reality game or fully immersive VR. That boundary just completely throws you off. So there's a way to go around it. You actually can reduce the sensitivity of that boundary to only make it show when you're getting super close to that wall, and it will get ignored if you're just getting a little bit near it. So the smaller the boundary is, the more time it will take to show up, or the closer you need to come to your actual walls for that boundary to show. And I find it a lot more convenient because I don't want to see that boundary at all. You might have seen that some content creators are suggesting that you can turn off that boundary whatsoever. I personally do not recommend that. I think that it is a bad idea, and not because of safety, which is, yeah, of course, you would do it at your own risk, but you know, it's up to you. I actually care about the performance of the Quest 3, and turning off the boundary completely can significantly deter your performance. In some cases, it can mess up tracking, it can mess up the floor height, and some people report that they are unable to recenter themselves effectively when the boundary is turned off. And overall, some games and apps just don't work properly with boundary disabled. So if you don't want to have those kind of issues and you don't want to have any problems with tracking, then the better way is just to reduce the sensitivity. Or one extra tip is you can actually draw the boundary way beyond your actual physical walls, and that way you will not see that boundary at all because you won't be able to come close to them, depending on how far away from the walls you will draw them. That's actually the tip that I use a lot. I just stand in the middle of my room and I draw a huge circle of the boundary way outside of rooms in my home environment, and then you don't have to worry about the boundary and your game performance will not suffer. If you are a Quest 2 owner and you recently upgraded to Quest 3, then you might be quite upset that you cannot use any of the accessories that you've collected over the years for your Quest 2 on your Quest 3, specifically the head straps. Those are not cheap, and it would be nice if you could use them on your Quest 3. And actually, you can, and all you need to do really is 3D printed adapters that you can attach to your Quest 3. You can 3D print it yourself if you've got a printer, or if you know a friend who's got one, then this is just such a nice upgrade that you can do it, and it's perfect for those of you who've already accumulated quite a few accessories for Quest 2. There's always a possibility that something will go terribly wrong and you will not be able to turn on your Quest 3 headset due to some kind of a bug. In that case, it's important to know that there is a secret menu that you can enable no matter the condition of your Quest 3 headset in order to factory reset it. And all you need to do is press your power and volume down button simultaneously, and then you'll see this flat screen menu in front of you where you can select factory reset by using your volume buttons as controller. If you found these tips helpful, then make sure to watch my other videos in which I go over some hidden feature and settings that you need to turn on your Quest 3 as soon as you get it. There's lots of other useful videos on my channel, so make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss them. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.